my name is Alex, and I'm a doula with Mom to Baby Services. I'm also a mom. My son Hayden just turned 2, and I'm also 30 weeks pregnant with baby number 2. So I've begun to prepare again for my own postpartum journey, and I've been wanting to make a video kind of going over the different products that I think are definitely essential to have. And these are the same products that I recommend to my clients as a doula. Everyone's postpartum experience is totally different, so some things might work for others that don't work for you. But based on my experience, these products are definitely the must-have. So the first product I want to talk about are pads. The pads that I have in here are all different flow sizes. So this is large, this is regular. I also have overnights. Basically after birth, the first week especially, your flow is going to be pretty heavy. So you want to have different flow sizes to be able to wear whatever you need for that specific day or that specific week. Everyone's flow size is different, and every day, that can change. So just having a bunch of different sizes in your arsenal to be able to have whatever you need that day is super important. It's also important to have panty liners, because there will come a time when you don't need a pad, but you're still having some discharge, so it could be a few weeks that you're in liners. So they're definitely important to have. And another thing I wanted to mention about with pads, so the chlorine-free and fragrance-free, like these pads, they can really be helpful, because a lot of the time the fragrance and chlorine can really irritate the area down there, especially after you've given birth. If you've torn and you have stitches, it can be extra irritating and cause a little bit of burning. So having pads that don't have fragrance or chlorine can really be a game changer, in my opinion, if you're able to spring for them. Another thing that's super important to have is a peri bottle. The hospital will definitely provide you with one, and that's because after you give birth, you can't wipe with toilet paper to clean yourself. You have to spray, and a lot of the times, if you use warm water, that can be really soothing. But this peri bottle, it is made by Frida Baby. It's called the Mom Washer. What's different about this is the end. It's kind of like, it's angled, so when you're spraying down there, it's easier to use. The ones that the hospital provides are just kind of like a little bit, like they're cut off like this, and it's just a little nozzle, which they're perfectly fine to use and definitely can be used. But if you want to spring for something a little bit different, this is only like $10, and it really makes a huge difference in terms of just being able to use this more easily. It really made a huge difference for me, and I was so happy that I did end up having this one when I compared it to the one from the hospital. It's just really, 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 in my opinion, it's an essential. And it also comes in this little bag, so if you're going somewhere and you need to take your bottle, you can just put it in this little bag, put that in the diaper bag, and you're good to go. So in terms of other things that the hospital does provide, they will provide you with a little thing of Tucks. Tucks are just these medicated cooling pads. They have witch hazel on them, which is super awesome for postpartum healing. What you'll do is you'll have your pads, and you'll have the pads laid out, and then you can have the little Tucks pads. They're just like little circles, and you just lay them on the pads, and then you'll put those in your underwear and pull them up, and it can be super soothing. I like to have a bigger can because I go through a lot of Tucks pads because they really, really help. They're also good for hemorrhoids too. So sometimes you can have hemorrhoids after pushing if you don't have them during pregnancy, and they can be soothing for hemorrhoids too. So I always made sure that I had my Tucks pads in my pad whenever I was, going to the bathroom to get changed, and I found that they really soothed and helped with healing a lot. Another thing in that same realm is this Earth Mama perennial spray. The hospital will provide you with Dermaplast. It's like a numbing spray, and a lot of people really, really like it. Personally, I didn't. It kind of just made me feel really uncomfortable, but this Earth Mama spray, it really soothed and helped me with the pain, and also didn't make me feel so uncomfortable down there. So whenever I would go to the bathroom, I would have my pad, I would have my Tucks in my pad, and then I would do a little spray after I used my washer, pull it all up, good to go, and you can go tend to the baby. So this, in my opinion, is awesome. It feels so good. It promotes healing, and it helps really with the pain a lot. Another thing to consider is postpartum padsicles. So if you would like to, you can take your pads and then put some witch hazel on the pads. You have aloe you can put on the pads, and then if you want, you can put a drop or two of essential oils. I like to use lavender. It's totally up to you if you want to make them or not, but then after you put all that on there, you put the pads in the freezer. So then when you need them, they're like these really cold, numbing, soothing pads that are amazing. I would definitely recommend making them while you're still pregnant, so that you have them for when you're home and you need them. There's a ton of recipes to make them online if you just type in postpartum padsicles. Another thing that's important to have, in my opinion, is your prenatal. Just because you had the baby doesn't mean that it's just time to stop taking them. Obviously, any supplements or anything, make sure you talk to your doctor, your midwife. You know, a lot of times pregnancy and birth itself can really deplete a lot of the vitamin and nutrient stores that you have. So making sure that you're still taking them to replenish, to avoid postnatal depletion, and also if you are breastfeeding, to make sure that the baby is getting as many vitamins and nutrients as possible. It's really important to stay on top of those vitamins. And again, with any type of over-the-counter, it's important to talk to your doctor, but I personally just have some pain reliever and stool softener because it can be really hard to go to the bathroom after you have a baby. So a lot of the times, doctors will recommend that you do have a stool softener just because it'll make that a lot easier. It can be pretty painful for some people, but you know, you can do what you can. You can make sure you're upping your fiber. You can make sure you're drinking a lot of water. And then if your doctor says it's okay, you can make sure you go with the stool softener. Just, you know, whatever you think will work best for you. Another thing to have is a really good water bottle. So throughout pregnancy, postpartum, if you're breastfeeding, a water bottle is the essential. This is mine. I love it. It stays cold. So just making sure you're hydrated is also really important. In terms of just like so this is dry shampoo. Whenever people were gonna come over during those first 2 weeks where I was just totally out of it and I didn't feel like getting in the shower or like freshening up really, but I didn't want to look horrible, a little dry shampoo and a little face wipe was, you know, amazing. So just making sure I have those in here is really helpful for me as well. And also, I didn't mention this before, but with the vitamins, your prenatals, a lot of times people can experience a lot of hair loss postpartum. So keeping up with your vitamins can kind of help with that a little bit. It's normal to lose some hair. A lot of people lose it like right here. So, you know, trying to avoid that as much as possible is obviously something that most people want. One thing that I did not have with my son Hayden, but I really have heard a lot of good things about and I wanted to try, was this Freedom Mom pregnancy box, or postpartum box. And I just got it in the mail, so I really haven't opened anything up. But they have perennial cooling pad liners, which I would assume is pretty similar to the Tucks. They are witch hazel, so yeah. But they look a lot bigger than the Tucks, so maybe instead of needing a bunch of Tucks, you could just use one of these. I'm not sure. They also have some perennial healing foam, which sounds similar to the Earth Mama spray, but this is foam and this is just a little spray. So I'll be interested to see, you know, which one I prefer. These are disposable underwear. A lot of people really, really like disposable underwear. Some people like to use the Always like disposable underwear just to hold everything in there. Personally, I just used bigger underwear that I didn't care about because I just didn't like the feel of disposable underwear, but maybe these will be a little different. I'm kind of excited just to have them in case I need them. Oh, these are ice pack pads. The hospital will definitely provide you with some as well, but if they don't send you any home, they give you 4 in here, which I'm excited about having as well. So that's what's in this postpartum pack from Freedom Mom, if you're interested in looking at that as well. Yeah, so that is pretty much what I deem the essentials for postpartum. If you're breastfeeding, there also are breastfeeding essentials. Maybe I'll make another video on that. So stay tuned for that, and that will be, you know, some other things separate for nursing or pumping. So yeah, everyone's postpartum period is super different. These are the products that have worked really well for me and some of my clients, so I wanted to make a video as I was preparing for myself for this baby. You know, postpartum can be really hard. It's a huge adjustment, and there's a lot that goes into it. So having things just ready ahead of time and kind of knowing a little bit what to expect can be really helpful and make a huge difference in just how your postpartum period goes. I would love it if you would subscribe, if you would follow me at Bump to Baby Services. I post a lot of content about childbirth, doula stuff, breastfeeding, pregnancy, fertility, and I would love to have you there. And I plan on making a lot more videos on these topics, definitely different essentials. So if you want to give me a follow so you don't miss out on anything on that, I would be so happy. So thank you. Bye.